By DJ Event Planner, Electra Voice, DJ Trivia and DJ Bingo, ProX Direct, NLFX Pro, Promo Only, Odyssey Cases, Perfect Portals, JMOZ Lighting, Instant DJ Requests, and our DJ NTV Insiders. This is John Young from DJ NTV. Thanks for watching.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show. And I've been on hiatus. I'm back. Not that you'd know, because this show isn't going to come out until probably fall of 2023, but I'm back. Not that you knew I was gone in the first place, but I'm back with Mr. Howie Darkstar.
Hello.
And John Cawley is with us tonight.
There.
Joining us from Boston.
Hello.
You don't have the Boston accent like you hear. What do they call it? The Southie accent? Is that kind of the thing?
It is very, very flat A's and no R's on the end of words.
You don't have
father.
That.
No. I went to school to unlearn that.
How far away physically do you live from that? I'm just curious.
I'm about 10 minutes from downtown Boston.
You're 10 minutes from it.
Oh,
it's
wow.
like London's like that. Yeah.
10 minutes from everything.
Depending on what side of town you're from, you can throw a rock at it. They speak differently. And back in the old days, it used to be that way here in this town as well. I used to call a certain accent the Cudahy draw, which is a little suburb. But yeah, that's funny. So yeah, it's us tonight. We don't have Jay. Oh no, what are we going to do? Maybe get a chance to speak, perhaps.
Ooh, how about that?
Perhaps. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Unless I get real chatty, and that could happen.
That could happen.
I did a video yesterday where I was talking about a few things, but one of the things I was talking about, funny enough, when I told John Jay wasn't going to be here, he'd say, "Well, at least we don't have to hear about how you're only as good as your last gig tonight." and I thought to myself, well, you know what? Since Jay's not here, why don't we have this conversation without him in the room? Because he has very strong opinions on it.
Mm-hmm.
Howie, you had some thoughts on this.
Yes, I did. I disagree because we all have less than perfect, or as I call them, stinkers every once in a while.
Sure.
And I've told this story before where I'm like, how come nobody's dancing? It's because it was all politicians. They did not want to get caught in awkward positions
Right.
on social media. And they also would not even dance with their teenage daughters. They would only dance with their wives.
Sure.
And so when I realized, I got a full dance floor when I'm playing Michael Bublé, slow shit like that, full dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I did a horrible job. I'm packing up and minding my own business.
Sure.
And they come up and give me an envelope with a tip in it. And the mayor shakes my hand. He says, great job. Great job. And I was like, do you mind if I ask you a question? No, absolutely not. And I said, how come you folks didn't dance? It was just the young teenagers that would come out and dance to what we call the bangers. And he's explained that in social media age, they cannot get caught.
Right.
Because of the headline would be like, mayor dances with young girl, not even mentioning that it's his daughter.
Or it becomes a part of a political ad or something stupid out of context. Yeah.
Out of context.
Sure.
But the next gig I had, I knocked it out of the park. So I'm thinking, no, I still have the skills to pull it off. And in that particular situation, I had to switch gears real quick because, there was only 6 girls dancing, young girls.
Yeah.
But when I went to the slow dance stuff, filled the floor, and
that would have been nice if you would have had a heads up on that ahead of time, though.
Yeah. Even though your perception of it wasn't so great, it was still a win. It went exactly the way it was supposed to, and that's a good thing.
But in my mind, I thought I failed, but I didn't, because they were very generous and grateful, and they thanked me for being professional on the microphone and remembering that their names properly. The honorable, Joe Blow, mayor of Pahatcon, New Jersey. A round of applause, and he did his little speech and blah blah blah. And I went. The next one was a wedding that I knocked it out of the park. And, it was like riding a bicycle.
I would argue that you didn't necessarily not knock it out of the park with the gig where they were only dancing to the slow tracks with the politicians, because you did what you were supposed to do, even though you didn't know it.
I didn't know.
You didn't know it, but you still did well. You were still trying to get a certain reaction that you were used to getting and that you thought you were hired to get, yet you were not getting it. So you therefore felt like it was a failure, where in essence, it totally wasn't. It was exactly what it was supposed to be.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
See, the wrong move would have been to just keep throwing bangers at them, and then they didn't dance all night. And you say, I missed the opportunity.
I was throwing the bangers, but the 6 young teenage girls, probably the daughters of these politicians, they were loving it. But sure, people on the dance floor looks really small.
It's funny. I have been to events before where they're more social events than anything else. People just, and when I say social, I'm literally having conversations with each other. Class reunions. I've personally attended them.
Right.
Things like that, where there is a DJ there, but this is not really why we're not there to dance. We're there to see each other or talk or do something else. And a couple of times I've noticed that when people aren't dancing, the DJ almost has to scream louder, or they'll turn up the system. Maybe they can't hear me. Maybe if it was louder, they'd dance.
Yeah.
Maybe if I scream louder, they would dance. Maybe if I played more aggressive music, they'd dance. Like, hold on a minute. Ambience, dude. Ambience.
Exactly.
Are they still here? Okay, then the party's fine. If they leave, you got a problem. If you're losing people, you're probably, maybe you're doing something wrong, or maybe it's just that group where they have church at 8:00 in the morning. We don't know.
Right.
But just because they're not dancing, I don't think you necessarily need to strong arm them into doing so. As long as they're there and engaged, you're fine. And that's my take on it anyway.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I was watching this documentary on HBO about George Carlin called The American Dream. And a lot of it was about his life, just, his brother and his sister and the family situation where he grew up and all this stuff. But there were some really interesting things in there. And I've made the parallel between DJs and comedians a lot, going kind of back to what John had mentioned earlier about you're only as good as your last gig. I heard George Carlin say something very similar to that, but something that I think I agree with a lot more than Jay's statement. It just makes more sense to me. And what George said after doing this for like 30 years, he realized, hey, you know what? This is not about accumulated credits. Just because I've been out here for a while doesn't mean that I am not obligated to grow and to change and to be better. It doesn't matter how long I've been here. And, I still need to be good. I can't just rely on my name or my experience or whatever. I gotta bring it. I gotta deliver, and I gotta constantly evolve and deliver things.
George was never just about a participation trophy. He went for it every single time.
And I thought about Jay, what he was saying with the only as good as your last gig. This makes more sense to me. This particular assessment of the situation where it's not accumulated credits just because you've been doing it for a long time, it doesn't mean nothing. You still got to be good. And if you're getting stale, you got to freshen it up. Perhaps not as hard-edged as you're only as good as your last gig, because, hey, in the world of stand-up comedians, as in the world of DJs, there are so many parallels, one of which is that we gig from city to city, in our case, from venue to venue. It's a different audience every night. You know what? You're going to have some great nights. You're going to bomb some nights.
Yes.
You're going to tell a joke one night that just kills. Everyone loves it. The next night, in Boston, it's going to fall flat. It's just a different audience, and that's okay. I mean, I worry that this whole "you're only as good as your last gig" philosophy forces you to stay in the safe zone all the time so you don't risk failure.
Good point.
This isn't a one-size-fits-all business. It's different. Everything we do, from parties to weddings, we come in with the right attitude, I think is a big part of the start of it. That'll help lead you in the right direction. So if you always come in every night with a fresh start, clean slate, and invent it as you go, I mean, you have a guideline of kind of what you want to do, but take some chances and don't get stale. Don't just keep running the same old lines.
Yeah.
Add a little bit of yourself to it, change things up. Don't be afraid to experiment. Much like Carlin said. I mean, Carlin went through a few evolutions from day one, from beginning to end.
They say 5. They talk about 5 specific ones.
5, yeah.
And what they said, I thought was interesting, was that, or actually it was what's his name? Bill Burr was saying his assessment of it was every time George Carlin went through a different evolution of his, or did this 180 thing on his career, did it 5 times, and each time he left people behind. He had an audience. He had people that he was pandering to or playing to, and there just came a point where he just said, "Okay, guys, just so you know, I'm going over here. You're welcome to come with, but if you can't hang, that's okay." He would leave people behind. He wasn't trying to be everything to everybody.
Right. When he moved into a place
audience.
for my stuff, he was done with the hippy dippy weatherman, and that whole crew of people maybe didn't come along for the new Carlin.
Well, John, the one I was thinking of, I'm sorry, Howie.
I was thinking of the hippy dippy weatherman at the exact same time. And when you think about it, that hippie era lasted a very short time, just like the punk movement. It was only maybe 3 years or so. He had to move on. He had to move on with the times.
Yeah.
But he didn't too often.
No, but that routine aged out, and
it did.
He wasn't talking to the hippie dippies anymore. So
it's interesting because you mentioned the hippy dippy weatherman, both of you did. And I'm thinking about, him doing the whole counterculture thing. Okay, when he did that, which may have been the hippy dippy weatherman period.
Yeah.
But on his comedy albums and such, he was playing to a younger crowd. When he started out, he was playing to people in their 40s.
Yes.
And then he was like, wait a minute, there's something going on with your kids. I want to play to them. That's where it's happening. So he started playing to the kids, the counterculture thing. And I'm thinking about what Bill Burr said about leaving people behind. One of my favorite Carlin bits that still stands true today is his bit on baby boomers. He tears them apart, like completely just trashes boomers.
Yeah.
Yet that was his audience at one time.
Yes, it was.
But he hated what they became and he called them out for it. He didn't give a shit.
Yeah, the first time he was on national television was on Johnny Carson, and he had short hair, a suit and tie, and he played to that boomer generation, like you said. And then a year later, okay, new material, new show. Every year he did that, and yeah, it was like, okay, where's this tie? All of a sudden,
now he's not a school teacher anymore. Now he's
got a ponytail. He's got tie shirt on,
got the
like
the turtleneck.
What happened here?
And I know that there are people watching right now who are thinking, why in the hell are we talking about comedians? Well, like I said earlier, these are the things I make parallels with. I really make a lot of parallels between us and comedians in terms of a lot of things. But
improv
today,
is one of them.
Pardon?
Improv.
Right. There's a lot of different parallels.
What happens when something goes wrong at a wedding? What do? We get on the mic and improv and stall for time.
The one I'm thinking about, though, right now, today, is growth.
Mm-hmm.
This is something. Okay. So let's talk about rock stars for a minute. Okay. There are a few unicorns out there, like Paul McCartney. Okay. Who's just, in my book, amazing. Jeff Lynne is amazing. There are several of them out there who just, Prince until the day he died. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Most rock stars, though, they burn hot and they fizzle out early. It's maybe a creativity thing. Maybe it's just, okay, this is who I am. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm going to stay. I'm unwilling to move, so they don't move with the times. But if you think of so many pop stars, I mean, who had their moment and then their moment passed. There's a lot of them out there like that.
A lot, yes.
Then there are the ones who are willing to evolve and grow, like McCartney, like Jeff Lynne, like Madonna. Like, those are kind of like DJs in that regard. But DJs are more like comedians, I think, because it's possible to do your best work in your golden years. The older you get, the better you can get.
As long as you keep growing.
As long as you keep growing.
You don't think you've peaked at some point. Like some bands you take, I'll just throw a name, Journey.
Yeah.
You follow them all through the 80s. After 88, 89, they're just living on the back catalog. There's really nothing that came out that keeps them current or has evolved in anything. It's just, they're just playing the old stuff.
If Jay was here, he'd talk about the Eagles. You know that.
Right.
He would mention the Eagles. He'd talk about the concert tickets for the Eagles and how this is disenfranchising the real fans. But like John said, they're going to make money on the tour, but they're not producing any new material that anybody cares about.
No. Well, there was a folk rock band, then they went a little harder rock, then it was
country rock,
country rock, and then now they all sit with acoustic guitars and play Hotel California on stage.
Yeah.
They're just taking it. It's evolved. It's different than it was.
An unplugged version.
Yeah,
now.
it's down.
It's marketable.
Yeah,
but it's marketable to the nostalgia crowd. It's not marketable to the new crowd looking for the new thing.
Right.
Right.
It's
not unless one of their songs is on a TV commercial and then makes it to TikTok,
Yeah.
I mean, look at Howie, for Christ's sake. This guy's like 1,000 and he's still doing this.
97. Yeah.
Okay, 97, whatever he is.
Yeah.
You're good for 97.
Point being is that there's no expiration date on you when it comes to your age as a DJ. Where the expiration date comes is whenever you decide that you're unwilling to try something new, to change with the times. When you put your foot down and say, all the new music sucks, I'm not playing it. I get a little worried with Jay sometimes where he hardlines some of the content of the songs today. And he just, I'm like, well, wait a minute. This is where we're at, dude. This is where we're at. I don't believe in doing that. I think we need to change with the times. Yeah, we should have a moral compass about things the best we can, but we cannot be our client's moral compass on this stuff.
Right.
I don't believe we can do that. If the FCC is okay with it, I'm okay with it. That's what I have to do to stay relevant.
I agree with what you've said before. If it's radio clean and that's good enough for the FCC, then it's good enough for the audience.
Now, if you're playing a Catholic school, fine.
Yeah.
You know
well,
what?
Grown-ups, assuming they're adults. If kids,
Give
it's
me a
different
safe
party.
playlist. Give me a safe list that you okay. Because for me to decide what's morally okay for your organization probably isn't the best idea in the world.
Realizing you're a heavy Prince fan.
Yeah.
It could be dangerous waters.
Well, Prince did some songs, speaking of Prince, that are about God. But he's not accepted in that whole community of Christian music or Christian friendly music, although his songs about Christianity and his songs are about worship and Christianity and things. But that's another show.
His birthday just rolled through, I think.
It's today.
Yeah, last night, we weren't recording, but it's in the chill room. Icona-Pop, I love it. I took his shit and put it in a bag, right? Now, that's the radio edit. That's played on the radio.
I have the radio edit and it doesn't say that.
There's a radio. Wait, but I talked to Nick Hahn about this. I said, what's the difference between radio edit and clean? He said radios will allow certain words, but the clean edit has all those words out. I was like, oh, okay, because I played it at a block party and there were quite a few kids there. And that song was requested. So I put it on. Nobody made a stink about it except for Karen. Karen came running up to the booth. Why are you playing this filthy song? And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? She said the S word. I was like, well, all right, I'd be happy to take that song off for you, just pandering to the people that are paying me. And I went into another song, but apparently, the S word was a big deal to her,
Before I had the epiphany that I couldn't be the moral cop at school dances, for instance. Before I had that epiphany, which was within my YouTube tenure, by the way. It occurred to me, someone said it to me, and I'm like, aha, you're right. And I live by that now. But the song Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake, in the second verse, he says, I'm bringing sexy back, you mother, something about heart attack. And I thought, okay, that's edited for radio. Because it doesn't say the whole phrase, but it's suggestive. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make my own radio edit of this. I'm going to take those other girls from the first verse, do a copy paste in there in my software, and I made my own squeaky clean version.
Yep. Just eliminate the line altogether. Just
right. So
overwrite it. Yep.
So, I don't know if it's the same. I don't remember ever hearing that in the Icona-Pop song. Not that I'm a lyric guy, but that was very.
It was so
blatant in Sexy Back.
Yeah, but I never realized that in the Icona-Pop song and nobody else did. Nobody batted an eye but that one Karen.
Well, for the radio, usually you hear the version that says I threw your stuff into a bag. They re-recorded it to change the word for radio because they saw it was going to start getting popular.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't pay any attention to these lyrics unless I'm, I know that my promo only stuff and my top hits US, all my top hits USA stuff is clean. The promo stuff's clean until I get to the Urban Club.
Right.
And then it's not.
Yeah.
But if I don't do the Urban Club, it's all clean as well. And some of the 12 inches, they're explicit and such, but your releases, those are cleaned up nicely as they have to be for radio play, and that's why they release the promo stuff. So hey, lucky us, right?
Yeah.
It's probably around the time of satellite radio. I think that it may have changed because usually anything that was suggestive, explicit, like Jet Airliner, Steve Miller, and get caught up in that funky
kicks going down in the city.
Right. But if you listen to it in the late night and you heard it on overnight radio, they played the real version of it. But it was dependent on the time of day. After 8, 9, 10 o'clock or whatever, they'd go to the regular release format, but it was squeaky clean during the day because it could be playing in dentist offices or school cafeterias.
I don't know that there's another version of the Who's Who Are You? Or they
got
say
away with that forever.
I don't know if there's another version of Money by Pink Floyd.
Right.
I don't know.
They never used to cut the bull S word. Now they do on the radio.
I cut it out. I cut it for a bar I was working at when I was at what's the bar called? What was the bar called that I played at over and over again forever?
See that I don't get.
Evolve.
It does fit the song,
and it's not hidden. It's not masked. It's in a very clear, it's legible spot with nothing going on.
Alan Parsons production. You're hearing the vocals.
Yes, and it's common speak among the masses where people will say BS.
That's another show, and I agree. But
yeah,
I mean, it's always a few Karens that screwed up for the rest of the world. It happens all the time.
I wonder though, are they putting on the dog to, like be that like, oh, look, I'm a clean person, but at home they're using that word.
Well, of course, but that's, whatever. I'm not here to judge. And if those are the rules, I'm going to do my best to follow them.
Sure.
But I'll tell you this, I will say this now that we're talking about the lyrics thing. There's a song, like, just for instance, I'm just going to pick one because there are several like this that I can think of. But off the top of my head, there's a song by Groove Armada called I See You, Baby. You know the one I'm talking about, John?
Yeah, shaking that thing.
Shaking that thing. I heard that as shaking that thing, shaking that thing. And then I hear this version where it's shaking that ass. I thought the thing was a better lyric. I liked it better. I didn't like it when they said ass. It didn't flow as nice. It wasn't me being prudish. It was me just thinking to myself, well, the thing is better.
Yeah.
There are songs like that. What was the other one?
Hey, you'd shake your groove thing. They didn't say shake your groove. Hey.
Okay. Sexy Chick. Remember the Chris Brown? Was it David Guetta and Chris Brown?
Yeah, there's two whole different versions of that.
And then there's the Sexy Bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought Chick flowed better than Bitch did. Sometimes I'll hear the unedited version of the song, and because I'm used to hearing the edited version of the song, that's the familiar version to me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear the unedited version, it's almost cartoonish. It's almost like they're trying to crowbar words in there.
And
I think that's
trying too hard to be cool.
I get that impression. So as a DJ, all clean music, only play clean music aside, even if I didn't have to do it at a gig. I think, and maybe I'm off on this one, and you guys can tell me your thoughts on this. And maybe it's different with satellite radio. Maybe it's different with downloads and all that stuff now. But in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, if anybody's heard this song, if a layman has heard the song, any song, on the radio, walking through Home Depot, on a commercial, on a TV show, whatever the case might be, just, public broadcast of this song. It's been the edited version of the song. And that is the version they're familiar with.
Yes.
So why would I even want to play an unedited version that's unfamiliar to the audience?
That makes a lot of sense to me. It really does. It's what they're used to. And if you throw them a curveball, it's almost like you're pandering to them. Speaking
of Carlin, hey, here's the same song you like, but now it's got one of the 7 dirty words you can't say on television.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Isn't that great? No, it's unfamiliar and it sounds forced to me. But it's probably different with a lot of styles of music, with a lot of generations, because they're consuming it different. They're not necessarily listening to the radio. They're on YouTube or Spotify or whatever thing they have.
Well, as the ringleader of a gig, if you're playing a club or a bar, you're the host, you're the conductor, you're the teacher, essentially. And if these are your students and you're trying to educate them on music, teachers keep it professional. They are mindful of content and words, and teachers aren't known for swearing. They can still get their point across, right?
Most.
So we're presenting the best picture of the music, the best way we can interpret it for the crowd that's in front of us. And
it's like if every movie I saw had a sex scene in it, it would probably bother me.
It's gratuitous.
I don't like it.
Why?
Yeah.
It doesn't need it.
Yeah.
There is, some stuff that I've noticed over the last couple of years, without causing too much of a debate here, where it's like a hot button topic woke thing, and it seems to be crowbarred into TV shows and movies. And it seems forced. It's like, this isn't essential to the storyline. Why is it here? And that's how I feel about some of the lyrical content. I'm not here to try to tell anybody how to be an artist or how they should do what they do. But as an artist myself, being the DJ and programmer for an event, I'm usually going to choose something that's edited, even if I had the option to go another way. So, if that makes sense. And speaking of...
Oh, I was going to ask you quick before you change.
No,
gears.
ask me.
Were you always like that, or is this part of your evolution? Is this something that's come along lately that...
No,
I've
always wanted to play the version of a song that people are the most familiar with. I remember working at a club in the very early 90s. And, well, no, I'll take that back. It was 92, and it was when grunge was hitting. And a lot of that stuff wasn't dance floor friendly. I mean, It was down-tempo rock, People loved it, but they weren't going to dance to it, and you wanted a dance floor, so you did other things. So I was looking at a lot of techno and some house that maybe they dig or something that was new. But I started to do this like throwback to 10 years previous thing, where I would go back and play the songs they forgot about. So it was Dexy's Midnight Runners, and it was, things like that. I was playing the Prince stuff. I was playing whatever,
synth pop, early 80s. Yeah, all that good stuff.
Yeah, the stuff we call flashback 80s now. Jesse's Girl, whatever. Now, the song I really wanted to play was Men Without Hats Safety Dance, because that song came and went so fast. It was like, oh, that was cool. Oh, let's move on to the next thing. But it's so much fun. I mean, to this day, I still play Safety Dance. Now, in the club, we had it, but we only had the 12-inch with the 12-inch version of it. That do 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 do, and they do almost like the rap at the beginning, and then it finally goes into the song. In my mind, I thought, you know what? I'm going to find the single edit of the song, because this is the version that people are familiar with, and this is the version I'm going to play. So broke DJ me spent $60 on some goofy Poppin' Wave Volume 3 import.
Box set.
Yeah, it was like a 3-disc set to get that song. Because it's the only place you can find it. There were no downloads at the time. You couldn't go buy back catalog 45s at the time.
Was that on Now That's What I Call Music 1 with the double album set? That might even be like the very first Now That's What I Call Music.
Probably is, but it was on a set called, I think, is it Poppin' Wave Volume 1 or 2?
Okay.
It was an import from the UK or Germany. No, it was a German import. And it was very expensive. And I think the bonus tracks on there that I got a really dope version of You Spin Me Around, Dead or Alive. I like the intro on it. It had the Rockets intro from Rip It Up. It had, and what else? Eurythmics, I believe Sweet Dreams ended up on there. A couple of others, but I bought it for Safety Dance. I remember that.
At least that wasn't
familiar.
Records and records of duds. At least it's stuff you can use.
Yeah.
You get some hits out of the deal, K-Tel compilation type.
I was always the weirdo who had to get the weird thing that no one else had, but I had to set myself apart. And a lot of us DJs downtown at the time, I mean, there were DJs who were playing the big cool clubs, like the really cool clubs. But we were all friends. and we all talked. And they loved the kind of, where do you get that be? You know, they would want to know, because it was one of those things that, you know, the local Camelot ordered one, and I was the goofball who dug through the compilations all the time, the import compilations. That was my jam. That's where I found a lot of goofy stuff. That's where I found, oh boy, that's where I finally found a copy of Cashmere's Percolator, you know, like that wasn't on record. That wasn't the Chit Chat mix. That was the version they played on B96 in Chicago. I found weirdo stuff there. Yeah, you could buy the pop and the Rock of the 80s and Living in Oblivion series and several others that everyone got, the domestics. But this is before that. This was like the weirdo. I think I'm pretty confident it was a German. I should Google it and find it now. I won't waste the people watching this syndicated time, but I'll find it. I think it was Pop and Wave Volume 2. It was white. And it was like a pastel, kind of like a Aha Take On Me drawing on the front of it kind of looking thing. I'll find it. It's out there.
Those are always great. The compilations is sometimes you discover artists you never heard of or stuff you wouldn't have played. You're like, oh, I like the sound of that. What else they got? And you dig a little and you go down the rabbit hole and find a new band you like.
When I was thinking about, you know, this whole parallel with comedians and DJs, the running theme was that he was always trying to do something that no one else was doing. And if he saw something like, you know, that was like hot and was going to be the new thing, he would say to himself, not, oh, I want to blow him out of the water, but this is my new competition. I have to be at least this good or better to be relevant. Mm-hmm. He was talking about Sam Kinison. So that guy came on the scene, was like, whoa, okay, this is new. Mm-hmm. I got to change it up. And he did.
Yeah.
He did. As a DJ, I think we need to do the same thing. And I know there are a lot of DJs out there who are very happy with doing, and I don't mean to sound condescending here, but the McWedding. You get paid.
Right.
You play safe. It's so safe all the time. Like
yes.
Bubble wrap safe.
you play it safe, and that's okay. If you take a chance, you might screw it up. But I'm telling you right now, man, I mean, I did that car show a couple weeks ago, and I don't know that I've done a show since the car show. Have I? I don't know.
Casino?
No, I did a car show.
Oh, for a car show? Yeah.
The casino after the car show?
The casino was last week, and the car show was the weekend before.
Okay.
So you did do a gig after the car show?
Yeah, did the casino.
Yeah.
That was last weekend.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this on a show, and I don't know if it was my show or your show, now that I'm thinking about it, but I'll just say that car shows typically $400 if you're lucky.
Right.
I charge significantly more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go in there and play doo-wop for 5 hours. I did something different. And I was able to justify my fee because I was paying attention, because I was doing something fresh, because I was having people come up to me and saying things like, when's the next car show you're doing? We want to come and see you. That's cool. Wasn't it? It's not supposed to be about the music. It's supposed to be about the cars, but they enjoyed the music so much. They dug the vibe. They wanted to know where I was going to be next because they wanted to come and participate in that show.
Yeah. Maybe that's just the birth of automobiles, but everyone just assumes a car show, everyone's going to play like music from the 50s. And it's like,
right.
It's a 72 olds. Like they weren't listening to the 50s then. The 50s were long gone. Well, like, hamburger on your windowsill those days have passed by this point. Now we're listening to
they really
BTO.
It used to be the time when it'd be like, I'll bet you they're going to play Hot Rod Lincoln. I'll bet they'll play 409. Yep, they are.
Yeah.
You know,
those are requested and played, by the way. Yeah. But I did other things. And the philosophy that a lot of people have, I'm going to play songs that were popular the year the car was new. And I'm probably repeating a joke here, but I'm thinking about somebody who shows up in a 1929 Model A. Like, what are you doing? Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby. Hello, my ragtime gal. You're not playing that.
I'll lend you my old mic there.
Yeah, you got the old, Taco putting on, or the original putting on the Ritz, whoever the hell did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not playing. They're not
Said
doing that. They're not
Irving
playing
Berlin, right? Irving Berlin.
Yeah, Cole Porter. You know,
Yeah.
birds do it, bees do it. No, they're not doing that.
Oh no! Wait a minute! Wait! Moral cop on that.
Yeah.
Now,
Content warning.
you don't have to agree or
warning,
disagree with any of the things that I'm saying as far as what I did at this car show or how you're supposed to run one or anything else. All I'm saying is that I was able to do what I did price-wise because what I do as a performer, as a DJ. I did something different. If I charged a premium and I came in and did the exact same thing the guy who charged $300 did,
Yeah, to be like,
why would they ever hire me again?
Right.
Why did we pay this guy so much?
Right. If you're doing the same thing that the other guy is doing, then what makes you more valuable or more interesting or more marketable or more in demand? So I really think you got to be different, you know?
I think you won the day on that one because you gave them something they didn't expect. They didn't know they needed it, and it was perfect for the vibe.
Carlin said something really cool too. And I just this stuff resonates with me, and I remember it, and I think about it when I'm doing things. He said what he wanted to do was find out where the line of the audience was. Where did they draw the line? His goal was to cross the line, bring the audience with them, and be glad they came along. As a DJ, I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to go so over the top that I lose them, but I want to do something. I want to bring them to a place they weren't expecting to go. They didn't necessarily ask to go there, but they're glad they came along. That's how I want to do what I do with my art. That's fun. I don't know. It's not necessarily going out there and completely challenging your audience with something that and criticizing or ridiculing them because they're not into it.
Right.
It's just about, hey, let's try this.
Right.
Give it a try. And if they're happy they tried it, hey, I think I've as a DJ, as an artist, I think I'm doing something unique and interesting.
Well, your confidence level will sell that too, because if you believe in what you're putting forward, they're going to come along. If you're, I don't know if they're going to like this. That's.
I feel that way all the time, John. I feel that way all the time. It's like this is either going to be great or it's going to suck. I don't know.
We're either going off.
We're going to try.
We're going together off the cliff one way or another.
So we've been here for 3 to 4 hours of being hired for. I'm in they're already happy. I'm into the 4th hour. If I blow it, I blow it. But let's try it. If you ever want to push the boundaries of your audience and see if they'll respond to something that they didn't necessarily ask for, but you think might work, I think the best time to do that is after you've already won them over.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. A, they're already happy. B, they already trust you.
Yeah. It's the trust and credibility, like you say.
Yeah. Oh, well, he's not going to steer us wrong. If you show up, at a school dance in 2022 and you drop My Sharona as the first song, maybe you're asking for it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're asking for it. But if you play it second to the last song, I don't know. Maybe you're weird enough and cool enough to get away with it.
Yeah. The ones who stayed will be glad you did.
Yeah.
You won them over all night.
Right.
You can take the liberties.
Because it's a TikTok song now.
Well, yeah.
An opening, I would, like you said, wait till the end. Yeah.
Well, DJ AM, I never saw him live, but one thing I heard about him that I thought was really cool was he would do his EDM set and his mashup set and all this stuff. And at midnight, he would just drop the single and play it all the way through of Chubby Checkers, The Twist. Just out of left field. And the crowd went nuts. He didn't mix it. He didn't remix it. He didn't fade out or anything. He just dropped the track. Because if AM thought it was cool, everybody else thought it was cool too. Now, if AM showed up and you paid $250 a ticket to get into this place, and the first song he plays is Chubby Checkers, The Twist, maybe that ain't going to work out.
Right.
But he won him over. And then he dropped it and it was okay. So just a tip for anybody who is afraid to try something.
We really want to take a left turn old school. I'll give him a what for. I'll show him. See that coming.
Now, but if you think about it, it could have failed. It could have failed miserably. But in AM's brain, he's thinking to himself, they're happy. They got their money's worth. This is the bonus round. Let's try some weird stuff. And he does, and it works. How cool is that? That is, to me, the coolest, you know?
For sure. And he'll walk away thinking it was a great gig, because it was a great gig. And that's important. That's part of the whole wraparound is from where we set sail with the ship tonight.
Yeah.
To believing in yourself, make every gig your best gig and look forward, not behind it. Because
if you try something and it fails, okay, you tried. But don't be so hard on yourself. Oh, that was my last gig and I'm only as good as that, so now I'm terrible. No. You know not to do that now. You learned something. You're better now. Or maybe it's not that what you did was bad, but you did it at the wrong time in the wrong place. So you could try it again somewhere else.
Sure. Yeah, there's always something that can be learned from that if something goes slightly off the rails. Because now you've got the experience of it. You know how to handle it a little better and say, I won't get fooled again.
Right.
That's right.
Fool me once.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Having said that, I think you got to give it at least 3 tries. Try it 3 times and see what happens, because you never know.
Except for liver.
It's like starting an old Buick.
Have you tried cranking it over? Give it one more time. Yeah. It's always the 3rd time's a charm. I think that's where that comes from. Knock 3 times. Even Tony Orlando sang about it.
Right. Yeah.
Got to give it 3 shots.
Yeah.
That's why they give you 3 bowling balls, right? Per turn.
So how'd we do, Howie?
I thought it was fabulous.
We do okay tonight?
Yeah.
Anything we should cover before we put a fork in this sucker?
Sure. Would you mind terribly if I did a public service announcement and share a screen quick?
Well, see, if I said no, I'd be a jerk. Because you're doing this on the recorded broadcast. So I have to say yes. You're strong-arming me, of course. Do what you got to do.
Well, no.
I'm teasing you.
He may just ask you twice more.
I'm breaking your balls. Do what you got to. Yeah, do it.
It's important, and it has to do with Jimmy. Okay, and he's still with us, and we got to protect him. I got several notices today, and let's see which one it is. This one here, and people are getting this right here. You see this setup here? You see my cursor? It says James M. De Palma listed items for sale. New and used non-smoking environment, and that's his setup.
Yeah.
This is a cloned account. And I called Laura up today, and just so that in case anybody happens to get this in their feed, because multiple people messaged me, this is what it's going to look like. And they're going to ask you to send a PayPal, and then they're going to give you a fake UPS number that it's, here it's on its way. But watch out. We did get it shut down, thankfully, but if it pops up again, beware. There is no more stuff from Jimmy.
Yeah, dead men don't sell DJ gear.
Right. So
even Jimmy, as great as Jimmy is, I don't think he could pull that one off.
Actually, he would have gave it away. He would have. As a matter of fact, she did ask. She goes, "Hey man, do you want to come down and take the rest of the stuff?" And I was like, "It's kind of far. I think I want you to have it. Just
right.
Have the local guys sell it for you. Take pictures. They're going to take pictures, and I'll I'll be able to tell him what fair market value is. I said, because hey, there's nothing new out there for people to get. The supply chain, they're willing to pay top dollar. He's got, I think he bought a 707. It's still in the box. He never opened it up. He got sick and he never opened it up.
So just remember, folks, when you see this video in 2024, that this account from Jimmy is fake.
Yeah, actually, you'll see this video here will be the lead in to my show probably next week.
I'd hold my breath. Hold your breath.
Or Wednesday lead into MJ's show. But it will be next week for sure.
Well, whenever it is.
Anyway,
thanks for watching.
Thank you.
See you later, guys.